Hello everybody and welcome back to another reading of The Legend of Zelda, Hyrule Historia. Okay, today we are starting a new timeline. The hero of winds and a new world. Ganondorf the Thief obtained the Triforce of Power and transformed into the Demon King Ganon. The hero of time successfully sealed away his foe. Victorious, he then departed to his original era, and purity began to return to the world once more. However, Hyrule's troubles continued. We are now in the adult hero's timeline. Now, even though the hero's failed storyline is my favorite out of the storyline, this timeline actually has my favorite games in the series. I mean, with exceptions, of course, but Wind Waker is one of my favorite Zelda games. I love the game. I think it's fantastic. Okay, we're now in the adult era of the Ocarina of Time, Ocarina of Time. The hero returns to his original era. With the help of the sages and the Hero of Time, Princess Zelda sealed away Ganon and returned Link to his original era. To ensure the Sacred Realm could not be reopened, she puts the Master Sword back in its pedestal and closed the Door of Time. The passage between eras were sealed, and the Triforce of Courage continued its slumber somewhere in the land. The Hero of Time returns. Upon returning to his original era, Link replaces the Master Sword in its pedestal and brings his beloved horse Epona back to Lon Lon Ranch. Yep, instead of looking for Navi, he decided to just, he decided to replace the Master Sword in its pedestal and bring his Epona to Lon Lon Ranch. I guess he wanted to give up the hero thing, this one. The purification of Hyrule. The dark clouds that had gathered over Hyrule parted, and light between the return to the world. However, once enough time had passed, the evil deeds of the hero, the deeds of the Hero of Time had faded into the legend. The creeping hand of evil beset the kingdom once more. So because he gave up, because he didn't look for Navi and everything, his legend became forgotten. Well, how can I put this? Ganon wasn't arrested. He was, or banished to the Sacred Realm. I think he was. Wait, actually, this timeline always does kind of confuse me, to be honest. So yeah, like basically, the Heroes of Time's return. He returns when he just doesn't look for Navi and go to Termina, which sets off this whole view of the Twilight. And I was actually watching an interesting video where they were linking Majora and Termina to the Twilight Realm, which makes a lot of sense. And of course they're in the same timeline, so it goes pretty well together. And yeah, with all the view of the Twilight, because the Dark World wasn't affected, it wasn't made because Ganon didn't turn the Sacred Realm into the Dark World. That left nothing really. This Link left Epona back in Lon Lon Ranch, and he decided just to be a normal dude. And with that, the purification of Hyrule, so things became good again, and became so good that things have been forgotten. There's no Twilight Princess to cause more travesty, because that's true in real world history too. Whenever things go well for a while, people for some reason will just not care about it anymore. I mean, I'm not judging the human race. I mean, it's just how it is. There's a lot of things you can't really explain about history, and one of those things is, if things go well for you for such a long time, and you really have no complaints, they're good. Eventually, you'll just, for reasons they'll never explain, they just want something back that how do I put this? They think it'll bring them forward. They think it'll bring prosperity. But this was the exact thing that the generation that they are in right now fought for. Like, the things that are going well for them right now were fought for because the things they want were the things that made things bad for them. That's why in the world you'll have your good times and your bad times. And the same thing is true here in Hyrule. From the scroll of the Hero of Time in the beginning of Wind Waker. It's very nice. The deeds of the Hero of Time are passed on as legends. Even in the eras after the King of Hyrule vanished from the earth, the legend of the hero of time and the kingdom where the power of the gods slumbered continued to be passed on from generation to generation. From the hero's green garbs to the details of his departure, the events of the story were handed down in the form of a scroll, becoming the legend of a bygone era. So, it has been forgotten. We are now in the era without a hero. This will shine a little more light, and we're beginning with the opening sequence of the Wind Waker to explain the events of Ocarina of Time. The Chronicle of the Sinking of Hyrule. The charm of the royal family, a charm honed from a gossip stone, passed by the royal family since ancient times. It was given by the King of Hyrule to his daughter, the princess. Members of the royal family can converse telepathically via the stone, but it continues to be carefully handed down in the present era, known to its bearers as the Pirate's Charm. There's the Princess of Hyrule and her retainers, who we might know as the Pirates. Here's some lovely illustrations you'll find from the beginning of the game. Let's see. Ganondorf is resurrected in the era without a hero. So this is how the events of Wind Waker work. Ganondorf, formerly sealed away, crawled up from the depths of the earth and enshrouded Hyrule in darkness once more. The prayers of the people were in vain, and the hero never appeared. Out of hope and out of time, King Daphne's Norhansen Hyrule made his decision. He would entrust the fate of his kingdom to the gods. The gods decide to seal Hyrule away. And there's our king. He's a cool dude. The gods chose which of the kingdom's subjects would ascend to the new land. Telling them to escape to the tallest mountains, they then flooded the world, sinking Ganondorf and Hyrule to the bottom of the ocean and sealing them away. Though the king was sealed along with his kingdom, the princess took a piece of the Triforce that had been broken into two by the king and managed to escape in the ocean's surface with several of her retainers. The Pirate's Charm. Alright, here's another text from this era. This is in Japanese. It's also the script on the Wii U gamepad for the Zelda edition. I showed off the translation of that before, I believe. Yeah, I did. I should have done that here. It would have been a little more appropriate, but what are you going to do? The writing system in the era without a hero. One of the scripts used in the eras which the Hyruleans ruled, the same characters are still used in New Hyrule hundreds of years later in the era of the Great Sea, which we'll get to. It's possible to decipher this writing system using the chart at the right to match each character with its Japanese equivalent. Yeah. Ganondorf's repeated resurrections. So, this time, they're not trying to resurrect Ganon. They're trying to resurrect Ganondorf. This is the same Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time, as far as my knowledge goes, and it should be, I believe. I'm pretty sure confident it is. This is everyone's favorite design for Ganondorf, and I agree. I love this design for Ganondorf. I think it's fantastic. I really wish, though, I pre-ordered Wind Waker HD because it came with. I don't know why I didn't. I'm so stupid. Because it came with this beautiful figurine for this Ganondorf. That would have been looked really nice on my shelf. But what are you gonna do? One day I'll snatch it on eBay or something. I don't know. All right, the Forsaken Fortress, the resurrected Ganondorf's base of operations. It's crawling with a large number of demons. The Forsaken Fortress. All right, we're in the era of the Great Sea, the Wind Waker. By the way, if you hear I just remembered now. I should have mentioned at the beginning of the video. If you hear a little sound in the background, I'm hoping the music will cover it up. That is my fan. If you don't watch my Earthbound series, basically I bought this little external fan to put underneath my laptop. I plug it into the second USB port and it'll keep the computer from heating up. I think this will help my capture card problem, and it proved very effective with Earthbound, my last Earthbound video. So. But I couldn't tell in editing, because I unplugged it when I was doing commentary. I couldn't help but wonder if it actually doesn't come up in the video, because I figured the music will cover it up. It's not a very loud sound, but it is there. So I'm using this video as a test. If you hear it, I will hear it too, and I won't do this again. I'll just leave it under the fan for a little while, then start the video, because I know it's the worst, that background noise. Honestly, I think this is a ton better than that sound that comes up from the computer's actual fan. But yeah, just so you know, that's what I'm doing. And yeah, now we can move on. Ganondorf's plots. Hundreds of years passed, and Ganondorf, who should have been sealed at the bottom of the ocean along with Hyrule, was resurrected once again. He gave an order to the minions to attack the Wind and the Earth Temples, killing 2 sages whose prayers gave the Master Sword the ability to destroy evil. And that's what I like about Wind Waker. It gave a little more, behind how the Master Sword retains its power all of these generations, from all the generations, you know. Upon emerging from the sea, he turned into the Forsaken Fortress into a base of operations, and began his search for the Princess Zelda, a descendant of the royal family who possessed the Triforce of Wisdom. And it's really cool, you know. Hey, do these guys look familiar? It's not like they could be the retainers, and that's Princess Zelda, right? Yeah, that'd be crazy. Tetra and the Pirates. What's really cool about the Wind Waker, what I love about Wind Waker more than anything is, I love the hub world. I love the world around it. There's so much to explore. It really encourages you to explore. And Wind Waker HD does it so much better than the original Wind Waker, because basically, if you guys are iffy about getting the HD version because you feel like you already have the GameCube version, let me tell you, I also have the GameCube version. But buying the Wii U version is a great investment. Not only do they cut all the bullshit out, like the Triforce charts. You don't have to grind millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of rupees to get the game beat, because that's the part where everyone quits. They cut it down a little bit. They trimmed the fat a little bit on that. They trimmed the fat in some of the annoying parts, and it's not just taking things away. This game was a complete graphical overhaul. They didn't take the game and put an HD filter on it like they did with a lot of other HD remakes, despite what a lot of people are making fun of it with. They took this game from the ground up and remade it. And I remember early E3 shots. They looked they looked kind of weird. They looked like these clay dolls or something, but they made it more true to the GameCube version later on. It looks gorgeous, and the lighting. If you guys don't know, I don't blame anyone for not knowing much about game design, and I don't know how to do game design, but I know a lot about the practice of it. I know the technical things about game design, but I know the practice of it. And I gotta say, the lighting in Wind Waker HD is the best I've ever seen in lighting. And the thing with lighting is very difficult to do in a video game. That is something you can admire about about graphical designers, on how well the lighting is in their game. Meaning, where the light goes, where the shadows cast, where what goes where. It's the same thing in drawing too, and painting and whatnot. How the shadows are, how the lighting is. It's brilliant. It's something to really admire, and Wind Waker HD does so well. The fast sail's really cool. The tingle bottles are awesome. I can't tell you how much I want to get those tingle bottles. I'm like, mine! It's kind of like what I'm like with the butterflies in Earthbound. I go, mine, I want, you know? But it's awesome. The girl with the blood of the royal family and the pirates. King Daphne's no Hansen Hyrule, I hope I pronounced that right, ordered by the gods to put an end to Ganondorf's ambitions, awoke from his slumber. His spirit took up the residence in a small red boat known as the King of Red Lions, and he began searching for the new hero and the descendant of the royal family. The descendant he sought to had grown up as leader of a group of pirates, known as Tetra. She had spent her life sailing the seas. Now the thing with Tetra's an awesome character. And the thing with Tetra is she spurned a lot of Tetraforce theories because her name is Tetra, meaning 4. And it makes you wonder why that was done. Here's her pirate buddies who were, yeah. It's really well done. Here's a beautiful map over here of the Wind Waker. Here's Windfall Island. It looks suspiciously a lot like Skyloft. A map of the world in the era of the Great Sea. The continent that once contained the land of Hyrule has sunk to the bottom of the ocean, and now only islands remain. Aside from the Hylians who rule over the realm, a small number of peoples whose veins flow the blood of the Kokiri, Goron, and Zora tribes yet survive. And once again, I will say, the Gorons are an incredible species. Even in the beginning, in the Sky Era, way in the beginning of time, they exist to this day, even in a world full of water, which Gorons don't agree with water very much. And yeah, it's awesome. It's really amazing what kind of detail you put in that stuff, you know? And yeah, basically what's really cool about Wind Waker, if you think of it this way, is all those islands are really just tops of mountains from... I think the Forsaken Fortress is actually supposed to be the top of Death Mountain. It's cool stuff. Adventure brought by the wind. The kidnapped girls. Princess Zelda, whose veins flows the blood of the Hylians, possess their characteristic long ears. The ominous bird seeks out girls who share this trait and carries them off to the Forsaken Fortress. Little sister Ariel, yes, Link actually has siblings in this one. And here's some other kidnapped girls. There's a nice side quest with those two over there. Yes, because they have long ears, they get kidnapped because they might be Zelda. The boy meets the King of Red Lions. In order to locate Princess Zelda, Ganondorf took control of the ominous bird, kidnapping girls from all around the sea. In the midst of this villainy, the King of Red Lions discovered a boy named Link from Outset Island, who had infiltrated the Forsaken Fortress in an attempt to rescue his kidnapped sister. Link enters the Forsaken Fortress, and Link of Outset Island. The boy from Outset Island proves his courage. The King of Red Lions decided to gamble the future of Hyrule on the courage of Link, the boy who was trying to rescue his sister. He bestowed the Wind Waker upon Link, which had been passed down by the royal family, and the two set off on their adventure. Upon receiving a pearl from each god that watched over the land, Link raised the Tower of the Gods and found himself proving his courage in a great trial. That's a fun dungeon. The customs of the Hero of Time on Outset Island. On Outset Island, where Link lives, it's customary for boys who reach a certain age to don green garb in the celebration of the Hero of Time. The green clothes are meant to imitate the legendary hero, and thus they symbolize the hope that the boys will grow up to be courageous. The custom decorating the inside of a house with a shield is also a vestige of this tradition. Yep. I actually really don't like the shield in Wind Waker. I think that's the ugliest hero shield in the series, but what are you going to do, right? Link receives the approval of the gods. Link's courage was recognized as he underwent the trials in the Tower of the Gods. He obtained the legendary blade known as the Master Sword in Hyrule, the kingdom sealed deep under the ocean. He challenged the Forsaken Fortress once again in an attempt to subjugate Ganondorf. However, the Master Sword lost his ability to repel evil. He was not able to wound Ganondorf even slightly, and the Demon King realized that Tetra was Princess Zelda. Link and Tetra barely managed to escape from the Forsaken Fortress with their lives. The Master Sword. We know what this is. The legendary blade can only be wielded by the hero. In this era, it acts as the key to the seal on the sunken kingdom of Hyrule. That's what I love about Wind Waker 2. I think it describes the three main characters, Ganondorf, Link, and Zelda, the best. I really do. I think that Tetra/Zelda is the epitome of wisdom. This Link is the epitome of courage, and Ganondorf in this game is an epitome of power. It's really amazing, and I do think this game does a fantastic job with its story. That's what I love about it, too. Princess Zelda is awakened by the Triforce of Wisdom. Oh, come on, my fan still goes on? It ain't right. The King of Red Lions, aware of the situations, invited Link and Tetra to the Chamber of the Master Sword. There, he revealed his true form as the King of Hyrule. In case you're wondering, again, if you don't watch my Earthbound Let's Play, I'm going to invest in some headphones with a built-in mic. I want to start using an external microphone to record these, because I'm using my computer built-in mic, and it does a good job of quality. And I'm kind of afraid my quality will go down with my mic, with a new mic, but I still feel like it's better to drop my voice quality a little bit than to hear behind my voice. You hear it. I know you do. Don't pretend you don't. The fragment of the Triforce possessed by the King and the fragment possessed by Tetra united to form the Triforce of Wisdom, and Tetra awakened as Princess Zelda, the true heir to the Hyrule's royal family. Princess Zelda remained hidden in Hyrule Castle, where Ganondorf's hand could not reach her. Whoa. Zelda's awakening from Nico's picture show. Yes, Nico has a little picture show. He's one of the pirates. Tetra, the leader of the pirates. Tetra possesses an unyielding spirit. She grew up without knowing she was the Princess of Hyrule, because, you know, it's hundreds of years later and all. Here's a stained glass windows depicting the stages. That is, there's Link obtains the Master Sword. These are screenshots from the game. When you get the Master Sword, there is beautiful stained glass windows like this here. I suggest you watch. They're really nice. It shows all the stages from Ocarina of Time. Pretty much tells a story. An ancient battle decorates the inside of Hyrule Castle. Within the walls of Hyrule Castle, which lies at the bottom of the sea, sits a statue that brings the mind of the Hero of Time. The Master Sword also rests deep within. The images of Ganon and the 6 sages are depicted in the stained glass windows. The decorations in the chamber where the Master Sword rests in its pedestal bring to mind the sealing of Ganon by the sages and the Hero of Time. Alrighty. Era of the Great Sea. We're still there, don't worry. Why did I read that? Taking measures to suppress Ganondorf, the King of Red Lions directed Link to find the pieces of the Triforce of Courage, sunk beneath the sea. Because the sages Laruto and Fadu have been killed by Ganondorf, Medley of the Rito tribe and Makar of the Korok tribe, in whose veins flowed the blood of the sages, headed for their respective temples. Their temples slumbering in Hyrule. The temples were sunk to the sea floor along with Hyrule, and there they continue to slumber. However, because their entrances sit atop tall mountains, it is impossible to access them from the ocean's surface in the Era of the Great Sea. The Sage of Earth. The sage plays a harp. Medley, a maiden of the Rito tribe, who later awakens as a sage, is an attendant of the guardian deity Valu. His predecessor as Sage of Earth was Laruto of the Guzora tribe. Yes, and this suggests that Rutos here, these bird creatures, were evolved from the fish-like Zora tribe, which is pretty interesting. And here's Makar's counterpart, Fado. The prayers of the sages and the power of the repel magic. The spirits of the previous sages who had lost their lives at the hands of Ganondorf awakened the new sages by playing special melodies on their instruments. Medley, the Sage of the Earth, and Makar, the Sage of Wind, offered up their prayers and restored the power to repel the Master Sword, repel magic to the Master Sword. The Sage of Wind. This sage plays a violin. Makar of the Korok tribe plays the role of accompanist in the Korok's annual ceremony. He will later awaken as a sage. His predecessor was Fado of the Kokiri tribe. And since the Kokiris can, you know the Kokiris from Ocarina of Time, that's where Link thought he was part of, but he actually turned out to be a Hylian. Here, in all reality, Kokiris may take up any form they want. In Ocarina of Time, they took the form of children, but in Wind Waker, hundreds of years later, they decided to take the form of more of a tree-like substance, like the Great Deku tree. They're not Dekus, so don't get them confused. Dekus aren't in this game, I don't think. Yeah, they should be. Yeah, why would the Deku tree be, right? There's Valu, the Deku tree, and Jabun. The 3 spirits that guard the pearls of the goddesses. Even after the land of Hyrule is sealed away, the guardian spirits of the 3 pearls of the goddesses remain. They are thought to be descended from Volvagia, the Deku tree, and Jabu Jabu, spirits existing during the era of the Hero of Time. Yes, this Deku tree right here, right in the middle, he was the child Deku tree grown after Ocarina of Time. However, in the Hero, which I always thought was a really cool thing that blew my mind, in the Heroes Defeated timeline, you notice there's a dead tree as level 1 temple. That is the original, that was the Deku tree from Ocarina of Time who died and it was never regrown. Pretty crazy, huh? And yeah, Jabun is a descendant of Jabu Jabu, the most annoying level. I don't care what you say. Jabu Jabu's belly is way worse than the Water Temple. I'm saying it. I am saying it. The birth of the Hero of Winds. Gathering the 8 fragments from the seabed, Link completed the Triforce of Courage. A crest appeared on his left hand and his courage was recognized as to be genuine. However, once Link and the King of Red Lions returned to the Hyrule Castle, they witnessed Ganondorf carrying off Princess Zelda right before their eyes. The Hero of Winds. Upon witnessing the gods' approval of the boy who manipulates the wind to fill the boat's sails using the Wind Waker, though King of Red Lions dubbed Link the Hero of Winds. Not that you can do it anymore not that you need to use the Wind Waker anymore to change the winds while you're sailing, because the fast sail does that for you, and the fast sail is the greatest thing ever made. I'm telling you right now. Here's some more things from Nico's picture show. It's definitely worth looking at that in Wind Waker. The fateful decision to wish upon the Triforce. Princess Zelda, who bore the crest of wisdom, had been taken to Ganon's tower, which rested on the ocean floor in Hyrule. When Link arrived bearing the crest of courage, the three crests were united, and the Triforce took on its true form. Ganondorf, hoping to resurrect Hyrule and rule over it, reached out to touch the Triforce, and settle his fate at last. The Triforce, the divine power that Ganondorf previously failed to attain. These sacred triangles granted the wishes to anyone who touches them. As Ganondorf has only succeeded in obtaining the Triforce of Power, he needs to gather the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Courage. Here's some pictures of other tribes. Here's the Ruto tribe, that's the leader, and his son Kamali. There's the Korok tribe, and there's the Goron tribe. Goron tribe's not that powerful these days. They don't have any one place to live. They pretty much float on rafts, and when they end up on islands, they trade goods and they're merchants, basically. The Kokiri and Zora tribes take on new forms. Yes, they do. Some of the peoples in the era of the Great Sea underwent drastic changes in form during the tumultuous, I have no idea what the word is, eras of the past. The Kokiri now appear plant-like, having transformed into the Korok tribe, who spread greenery around the world with the spirit known as the Deku tree, which is a really interesting side quest. It's so easy on the HD version, again because of the fast sail. The Zora tribe now bear bird-like beaks, have transformed into the Rito. Oh, Rito, it's not Ruto, sorry. The Rito. They grow their wings upon being blessed with one of the Spirit Valu scales. The Goron tribe has not undergone much change, but its members wandered the earth as vagabonds, which means merchants, basically. They're traveling merchants. They're basically, they were given gifts, they transformed. I always wondered wouldn't the Zoras be better off in a world full of water? But then again, I thought, someone's got to deliver the mail. After all, the mailmen are the real heroes of the American people. You guys knew I watched Chugga Conroy before you watched this, come on. The ancient kingdom fades away. Suddenly, the king of Hyrule appeared and touched the Triforce before Ganondorf was able to. Yeah! In a sonorous voice, the king declared the wish, wash away the ancient land of Hyrule, let a ray of hope shine on the future of the world. Ooh, I love that. It's like, it looks at his face, like, take this. Yeah, what you want now? He's bad. He's bad, the king. Ganondorf's desire. Ganondorf, obsessed with the idea of resurrecting Hyrule, the kingdom that had sunk to the bottom of the ocean, described the land's destruction by the gods. He spoke of the desert country in which he was raised, how the winds that swept across it brought death, and how he coveted the wind that blew over Hyrule. Was it the wind of Hyrule he felt in his final moments, or the wind of death? Ganondorf's final moments. It was really worthwhile to ask the Triforce to destroy destroy Hyrule in order to build a better future. Was it? Link and the princess to whom the future had been entrusted launched an attack on Ganondorf. What unfolded next was Hyrule's final battle. Ganondorf fell to the power of Princess Zelda's light arrows and the ability of Link's blade to repel evil, and turned into stone. As Hyrule began to fade away, the king helped Link and Princess Zelda escape to the surface. In spite of Princess Zelda's entreaty to search for the new land together, and Link's outstretched hand, King Daphne's Nohus in Hyrule chose to vanish along with his kingdom. Because that's what a good captain does. He goes down with his ship. I love this picture. This is awesome. The confrontation with Ganondorf. I love that. And Link, the Hero of Winds, and Tetra, Zelda, get their own stained glass window in the end. The King in Hyrule. When the King of Hyrule looked back upon his reign, he was filled with regret, because like Ganondorf, his yearning for the past bound him to Hyrule. He decided to disappear this kingdom, and as though asking for forgiveness of Link and the princess, he left behind the final words, "I have scattered these seeds of the future." So basically, I like that. It's very symbolic. It's saying that the king was like Ganondorf in a way where it's like they wanted to cling on to this old land of Hyrule. But that couldn't be done anymore. It was getting too dark too fast, every time the Triforce came up, danger was about to happen. So in the end of the day, King said, no, this isn't right. We have to destroy this Hyrule in order to start anew. And that's what Link and Zelda here are going to do. The curtains thus fall on the cynical history of the sacred realm of Hyrule and the struggle for the Triforce. We no longer have to worry about that crap. But that doesn't mean it's over, people. That does not mean it's over. So next time... Actually, wait a minute. Let me see something real quick. You know what? Let's read the rest of this. Why not, right? Where was I up to? Yeah, there we go. These are the DS games. These are another ones I never gotten to play. Like I said, there was exceptions to my favorite games in this timeline, and when I say that, I'm including the original timeline as well. I'm sure people were confused about that, because that's me saying I only like one game from this timeline, you know, saying all my favorite games are in this timeline. Whenever I include timelines, I include the original timeline, and then when it splits off into 3, that original timeline is still part of each timeline to me. That's how I go by it. So yeah. Just in case you were confused on that, because I know that sounds kind of confusing. This is the era of the Great Voyage, with Phantom Hourglass / The Wind Waker. Niku, the Pirate's Picture Show. Niku, a member of Tetra's pirate gang, turns the Ballad of Link and his friends into a picture show to tell the story of their adventures. Let's see. The Great Voyage of Tetra, Link, and the Pirates. Hyrule vanished, and the pirates welcomed back Princess Zelda, who once again became Tetra the Pirate. Tetra, Link, and the pirates received a send-off from the people of the islands and set sail in search for a new world. We're now getting into Phantom Hourglass. The eerie ghost ship appears in the ocean's king's waters. Several months after their departure, Tetra and the pirates found themselves in waters where the ghost ship has rumored to appear. The area fell under the jurisdiction of a great spirit known as the Ocean King, but recently ships have begun disappearing. In order to ascertain the truth behind these rumors, Tetra boarded the ghost ship when it appeared before them, only to be kidnapped. Link rushed to her aid and was hurled into the depths of the ocean. The hero found himself washed ashore on the beach of Merkei Island. On the advice of an old man named Ushus, he departed in search of clues to the ghost ship's whereabouts. The ghost ship. Surrounded by a thick fog, the stronghold of the evil Bellum, it sails the waters of the Ocean King and drains the life force of those who approach it. This is a similar situation with the Game Boy games of Oracle of Seasons and Ages. I think, like with Oracle Seasons and Ages, I think this is the same situation here. They probably wanted to put these two games together, but since it was limited because it was a DS cartridge, they separated the games into two, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. This time, though, they actually don't make the stories that connected. They have their own. They're actually descendants this time. It's not the same Link and Tetra, or Zelda, whatever you want to call her, and it has something to do with the new Hyrule thing, because they found their continent. They are establishing a new Hyrule, and that's what Spirit Tracks is all about. And I think there's so much more they can do with this timeline, but it's very limited right now for now, which is why I think that after Phantom Hourglass, they should put Hyrule Warriors, if it would be in the timeline. I'm not saying it is. I only say that because a lot of people were saying that if it was going to be canon in the timeline, they want Hyrule Warriors here or Hyrule Warriors there. I think it's a perfect place to put put Hyrule Warriors during the era of the establishment of New Hyrule, whatever the era is called. You know what I mean. Tragedies in the water of the Ocean King. The waters under the jurisdiction of the Ocean King are full of life force, the origin of power, which is the reason they attracted the attention of Bellum, who consumes it. Where the spirit of power and the spirit of wisdom were sealed away, the Ocean King and the spirit of courage created alter egos and fled to the island. Though the waters of the Ocean King exist in a different world from that of Tetra, Link, and the pirates, the crest of Hyrule's three gods can still be found in the Ocean King's temple. Because of this, it is highly possible that the waters of the Ocean King were created by the same gods as Hyrule. Yes, as Farwar's crest left behind on the temple in the Ocean King, and Bellum's attacks according to Nico's slideshow. Yep. Adventure on the SS Lineback. Link befriended Celia, the ferry that Oshus had taken in, and managed to obtain the cooperation of Captain Linebeck. The three set sail on the SS Linebeck, his ship. Using the Phantom Hourglass, Link managed to unlock the clues that slept within the Temple of the Ocean King bit by bit. He also rescued the spirits of power, wisdom, and courage. The Temple of the Ocean King, a temple dedicated to the worship of the Ocean King, who governs this region of the ocean. The temple is commandeered by Bellum, who uses offshoots of himself called phantoms to eject trespassers. The Phantom Hourglass. This hourglass possesses the power to manipulate time. It is unnecessary to use in order to pass through the Temple of the Ocean King unharmed. The Ocean King and the Evil Bellum. Borrowing the power of the spirits, Link successfully boarded the ghost ship. Inside, he discovered that Tetra had been turned into stone after Bellum drained her life force. Then Oshus appeared and revealed his true identity as the Ocean King. The Ocean King recognized Link's courage and asked him to eradicate Bellum, because he's bad. The spirits of power, wisdom, and courage. They may look like small fairies, but they possess great powers, such as the ability to sense evil. The fairy Celia is actually the spirit of courage. Spoiler alert. Here's the map from this game. The waters of the Ocean King. The Great Sea, composed of 4 territories, it is a world located at the heart of the ocean, with no land masses big enough to be called continents. But they'll find that in Spirit Tracks. The confrontation with the evil dream god Bellum. Link obtained the only weapon capable of defeating Bellum, the Phantom Sword. He then headed for the depths of the Temple of the Ocean King. Once he crushed Bellum, Tetra world would return to normal. Link pressed the attack against Bellum once again and barely managed to escape with his life. Thanks to the courageous actions of Captain Linebeck, once the dust had cleared from the final battle, Link and his friends stood victorious. The Phantom Sword. Oshus added the power of the Phantom Hourglass to his sacred blade, which was forged from 3 carefully guarded pure metals, each found in a different region, and there are the 3 pure metals. It's good to make swords out of interesting metals. Escaping the waters of the Ocean King. Oshus regains his true form, and peace returned to the waters of the Ocean King. Link and Tetra bid a fond farewell to Oshus and the spirits, and found himself back in their own world. However, despite the many days they wandered, during their adventure in the waters of the Ocean King, they returned to find only 10 minutes had passed. Wow. Crazy, huh? The turmoil surrounding the ghost ship had come to a close, and Tetra, Link, and the pirates resumed their voyage in search of a new world. And there's the Ocean King, very suspiciously like the fish from Link's Awakening. Captain Linebeck lives. The people Link meets in the waters of the Ocean King are the inhabitants of another world and cannot be encountered in Link's own. However, once Link returns to his own world, he seems to make out a shape of the SS Linebeck drifting in the distance. So yeah, this is another story where they just go into this alternate world, you know. The people of the waters of the Ocean King. In addition to humans, Gorons which look identical to the Gorons of Hyrule, and the Anuki tribe of the Isle of Frost also inhabited the worlds of the Ocean King. The spirits of the Cobble King and his knights also dwell on the island that houses the ruins of the Ocean King. I'm sorry, I could have sworn Nico's picture show was in Wind Waker, but I guess it wasn't Phantom Hourglass. That I know I've seen somewhere. I might be my mistake. I'm sorry, it was my mistake. But yeah, really interesting stuff here. Gorons, as always, very versatile. They'll exist anywhere. And yeah, I guess when we're made of rocks, you know. I like this idea of Phantom Hourglass. I like how they have this alternate world scenario. It has a lot to related to Link's Awakening to it, and Link's Awakening is one of my favorite Zelda games. I love that game. But on top of that, it makes me think. Because I heard a lot of complaints about this game and Spirit Tracks. Spirit Tracks I heard was a stupid complaint that come on, why is there a train in a Zelda game? But come on, there are telephones in Link's Awakening. But yeah, I do want to try these one day. Alright, here's the last part of the Era of the Great Voyage. The history leading up to New Hyrule. The Tower of the Gods. The Demon King had been sealed in this tower by the gods in the distant past. The train tracks, which separated out from the tower to cover the land, drew the power to maintain its seal from the land's 4 temples. Sages of the Lamoko tribe were dispatched from the heavens to each of the 4 temples and the tower. Princess Zelda. The Princess Zelda spoken of here is the 5th in our line, the great-great-grandchild of Tetra. Alfonso, an engineer from Aboda village, he's a descendant from Gonzo, one of the Tetra's pirates. He used to serve the royal palace as the swordsman. Though his skill was great enough that people spoke of him as legendary, he was wounded in a fight with Byron. Alright, 100 years later, and we're starting Spirit Tracks. The expansion of the Hyrule Kingdom. Trains ran along the Spirit Tracks, and the kingdom developed a network of railroads. The castle was decorated with a stained glass depicting Tetra the Pirate, and the soldiers adopted green uniforms as a tribute to the hero of winds. The tracks begin to vanish. 100 years after the country's founding, began to disappear all over the land. Reigning Princess Zelda presented an engineer named Link with his soldier's uniform in order to slip out of the castle, and the two headed to the Towers of Spirits with Alfonso to investigate. This is the era of Hyrule's rebirth. Right here, in 100 years later, right here, I think with the expansion of Hyrule Kingdom that this should be where... Alright, let me just explain this again. I want to be very thorough with this. I don't want people to yell at me. Look. Nintendo have announced that Hyrule Warriors is not part of the canon Zelda franchise, and I understand why. I do. It doesn't seem like a canon game. It's just Dynasty Warriors with a Zelda twist, and it's awesome. I can't wait for that game. I'm really excited. But the thing is, a lot of people say, what if it is canon in the timeline? I'd like to figure out where it is, because that's the only thing timeline... Let's be real here. It's the only thing timeline theorists are useful for nowadays, other than hating the timeline because they don't have a job anymore. That's what timeline theorists do now. They find it, they look at a new Zelda game, and they'll predict where it is, and then they'll complain because Nintendo had another idea of where their games and their creation should go in the timeline. I think, though, I'm going to put my 2 cents in this subject. Even though it's not a canon game, I think it's an interesting discussion on figuring out where a game would go, because they don't announce it until the game comes out. I think this is a good place to put it, because Link's battling. Why is he battling? Why is he fighting all these people? Well, they're in Hyrule, clearly. Maybe. And it's definitely a new layout from the original Hyrule from the olden days, so maybe this is the 100 years later with the expansion of Hyrule Kingdom. Maybe a lot of people want to take this land for themselves, because it's easy pickings, you know? It's new, it's fresh. They can just take it over and expand it themselves and rule it. Who knows who the evil bad guy is? Who knows how he got control of all these Stalfoses and the Dodongos or whatever the enemies are in that game, but I think it's a cool idea. Alrighty, the picture show of Nico the Storyteller. Give me a sec, I'm sorry. You know how unprofessional I am. My gamepad's dying. I haven't charged it in a while. So, let me just throw in the charger before this dies, and then things get more awkward than they should be. Alrighty. I do want to get that battery expansion pack. The picture show of Nico the Storyteller. Nico, who arrived in the New World 100 years ago as one of Tetra's pirates, is still going strong in this era. He is affectionately nicknamed Old Man Nico, and he lives with a boy named Link, who is identical in appearance to the Hero of Winds. Nico passes on the legends surrounding the New World and the Adventures of Link in the form of a picture show. Okay, this is the game where it's from. My mistake, I'm sorry, I could have sworn this was in Wind Waker. I might have seen this on YouTube and just mistook it for something else. Yes, he has a picture show to show off the story of Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, because those two are the same Link. I find that amazing that he lived for over 100 years, Nico, but I think he is supposed to be the youngest of all the pirates were. So, you know, makes sense to me. Alright, still in the era of Hyrule's rebirth with Spirit Tracks. Princess Zelda, now nothing more than a spirit. Oh no, there's Byron and Chancellor Cole. On their way to the Tower of the Spirits, they concluded that Cole, the Chancellor of Hyrule Kingdom, was a creature of evil. Cole was attempting to resurrect Malladus and the Demon King, who had been sealed in the Tower of Spirits. He planned to use the body of Princess Zelda as a vessel for Malladus. Princess Zelda was kidnapped by Cole's ally, Byron, and her spirit separated from her body. Link and the spirit of Princess Zelda received orders from Anjin the Sage as the Tower of Spirits. Princess Zelda's spirit. Byron, a member of the Lokomo tribe who studies under Angie. He was not recognized by the gods, seeking a power superior to that of the gods. He cooperated in the resurrection of the Demon King. Upon losing to Link, he realizes that he has been used by Chancellor Cole and agrees to help Princess Zelda. Angian, one of the sages of the Lokomo tribe, who was sent to the surface world by the gods in the distant past, a friend of Tetra the pirate. She watches over the Tower of Spirits. Oh boy. The changes in the Spirit Tower. With its tracks disappearing and the barrier lost, the Tower of Spirits was divided, and its guardians, the Phantoms, were possessed by demons. Princess Zelda's spirit transformed into a Phantom, Zelda by entering the armor of a Phantom. And with the cooperation of Link, she made for the top of the tower. However, in order to reach the top floor where the Demon King's spirit slept, the two would need to restore the barriers to the temples. So yeah, that's what's really interesting about the DS games that I'm really interested in. Zelda helps out Link. In fact, in Wind Waker, same thing. That's what I like about this timeline too. Zelda, these are the most competent Zeldas I've ever seen. I mean, all the Zeldas are very powerful women. They're very competent and whatnot, with exceptions, but it's amazing. And in fact, you ever see those memes where those pictures with all the different Zeldas and how they react to one question? That describes it well. Zelda's usually a tough lady, you know. A map of the New World. Yes, this is what New Hyrule looks like. Pretty good, you know. There's a castle in the center. Doesn't look like it. I don't like that. A map of the New World. New Hyrule is split into 5 regions, with Hyrule Castle and the Tower of Spirits at its center. Okay, never mind. Circled by the Forest Realm, the Snow Realm, and the Ocean Realm, the Fire Realm, and the Sand Realm. In the past, Tetra was aided by a man named called Linebeck. From the existence of his grave and the descendant Linebeck III, it is possible to surmise that he made it to the New World as well. Page are we on? Yeah, there's the last page. Alright. Yeah, I don't want this going on too long. The restoration of the barriers. Link traveled to the land on a spirit train that had once been stored in the tower. Using the spirit flute entrusted to him by the Princess Zelda, Link borrowed the power of realm sages and restored the barriers to the temples. Once he reached the top of the tower, he found that Malladus, the Demon King, had been resurrected in order to return Princess Zelda to her body. Link and his friends would need to enter the Dark Realm. That's another thing I like. Link has buddies, you know. A lot of games he's alone, but that's another thing I like about this timeline as well. The Spirit Flute. A mysterious flute passed down by each successive generation of Hylian princesses. There's so many things that they don't tell us about that's been passed down. It originally belonged to Angian, who gave it to Tetra, who wanted it in order to build peace in the kingdom. The Dark Realm. Ooh, that's a bad train. Demon train. A world covered by inky blackness where demons made their nests. Malice and Chancellor Cole used the demon train to travel the furthest reaches of the darkness, where the final battle unfolds. The suppression of Malladus. Following an intense battle of Malice, Princess Zelda regained her physical form. The mysterious power of Princess Zelda, along with Link's courage, brought about the end of Chancellor Cole and Malladus. Once the kingdom had been freed from the menace of the Demon King, Angian and the Lokomo tribe determined that the people would no longer require their protection, and returned to the heavens. The land's care was entrusted to Princess Zelda, Link, and their friends, and Hyrule made great strides in its development. And here's how it looks. Princess Zelda's triumphant return. They're all happy. The suppression of Malladus. The Lokomo tribe returns to the heavens. The ancient realm was destroyed, and the winds guided the founders of Hyrule to a new land. Where will the kingdom set off down another path? With the lineage of the gods not yet exhausted, who can say that the successive generations will bring? The story will continue to unfold. That's saying, yes, people, the history of Hyrule ends here for now. And this is their, this is where they do a little, celebrating 20th anniversary merchandise. This is where they're gonna give me some old. These are gonna look really old to me 20 years from now. It's like I read my old comic books and I see these really old things that don't mean anything anymore. Yeah, if you guys are interested, this might be on eBay. Commemorative merchandise collection. These items were released for the Zelda's 25th anniversary. This Legend of Zelda: Symphony of the Goddesses, a new orchestral work, debuted in 2011. I want to see them so bad, Symphony of the Goddesses. They're still around. They're very popular. Very popular. I really want to see a show of theirs. My friend did. Oh, so jellyfish. The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Anniversary Edition. The Nintendo DSiWare version of 4 Swords, which originally came packaged with The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The limited edition game was distributed for Nintendo 3DS, DSi, and DSi XL until February 20th, 2012. And I scored that a week before it was over. It recently was reintroduced, but unfortunately, it didn't work too well for them. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't hear about it. I don't know why they make a big deal of it. They didn't hear about it and nobody got it. Nintendo Private Card. Specially designed, the card was released for a limited time. There were 3 versions: Ocarina of Time 3D, Skyward Sword, and a special illustration. Playing cards. A set of playing cards featuring characters' designs from different eras. It was released for the 25th anniversary, but it's not a limited edition product. So that'll stay, and here's the Zelda 25th Anniversary 3DS, which I see people play to this day. And it's a lot of people's only reason for not getting an XL model. I mean, if you want a 3DS regular, the only reason I can suggest to you is if you have small hands. It's the only reason. I think the XL model is far superior. Limited Edition 3DS, registered via Nintendo Online. Its design features the crest of Hyrule at its center. This is a high-quality product. Everyone, the history of Hyrule is over. Sorry it took a little long on this video, but what are you to do? Next up, we're going to look at Creative Footprints, documenting 25 years of artwork. We're going to see a lot of artwork from every game. We're back to the game thing. It's not Hyrule's history anymore. We're back to the games. We're going to look at some concept designs, all the stuff from the first chapter without the story. Again, I like how it's organized. They have the history of Hyrule and the Creative Footprint chapter here put together for the first chapter for Skyward Sword. I really like that, because it gets you ready for this stuff. And now that we've got all the history down with the other games, we don't have to mix that in with this part. So it's not that long, it's not that tedious to read. Very nice. So next time we're going to start with that. And, hang on. And, yeah, we're going to start on page 338. Alright. We made it to the final stretch. The rest of this should go pretty quickly, I'm going to warn you right now. So yes, thank you all so much for watching. I've been Billy, your Video Game Analyzer. Have a good day, good night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you next time.